What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So Lucid recently announced a $7,500 discount in regards to leasing. So I want to break it down. What does that truly mean? And also on a comparison basis, does it make it worth it? So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So a lot of people did receive this email saying save 7,500 immediately, accelerate instantaneously. Starting now, customers who lease any Lucid Air through Lucid Finance Services will receive an automatic 7,500 savings in the form of a capital cost reduction. So that's actually a pretty interesting way on how they are spinning it. Roughly about 5 days ago or a week ago, I did actually come out with a video saying on why Lucid might be cutting their new car costs. And I did bring up largely because of this used vehicle value index and how the used vehicle market bubble potentially has popped. So of course, a lot of companies are going to have to reduce their costs. Of course, Tesla was the first one to do that. Lucid's variation of that was doing employee discount pricing in the form of, I believe it was 18,000, which in general, that was a nice spin-off. And I really did like that aspect and that spin-off because technically that locks in a lot of good skilled labor and of course gets a sale revenue. It's very beneficial, that aspect for Lucid. And in this case as well, they're only targeting leasing. So still not a broad 7,500 across all aspects of the Airs. Is just technically leasing. But still, like I said in my video, I do anticipate Lucid on a broad aspect, cutting costs to kind of keep in line and still raise demand potentially. So that's something still potentially to watch for in the coming months, but I didn't think that they would have done something this fast, but it is what it is at this stage in the game. But I think in general that is fairly good. I did do a little bit more research and it does look like around 15% of individuals are very much appealed by leasing. So it still does offer a little bit more of a potential discount behind the scenes. So Lucid is actually very smart with their marketing behind the scenes on discounts and just bringing in customers because of them seeing this. So I think that is a very, very good deal. And when it comes down to Lucid more specifically, is it worth it? I've never actually looked on their website as far as leasing, but it does go over the finance and leasing, loans, leases, and everything here. So I'm going to break it down for you if it is truly worth it. So as you can see, model Lucid Air, which of course that is part of the qualifications. That has to be a Lucid Air through finance services. And as far as I know, I think that is through Bank of America. That's the only leasing partnership that we do have with. And I think Bank of America has always really liked Lucid from the get-go. But aside from that though, I did select the peer, so $92,900. State, I did put down Hawaii because Hawaii is pretty cool. So as far as the terms, I'm going to compare this with Tesla. As far as leasing options, Tesla only offers 24 and 36 months. So I did select 36 months, but of course you could do 48 with Lucid. Down payment, I did put down 4,500 because that is exactly what Tesla does, just for on a comparison basis. So as you can see right at the bottom here, it brings the grand total for the monthly payments $1,696.66. So let us open up our handy dandy calculator and just do some basic math. So that is $1,696.66 times by the 36 months and plus the $4,500 for down payment. So that would bring a grand total to $65,579.76. And of course, as you can see here, the net capital cost is roughly about $92,000. So as far as how good the Lucid does hold its equity, you take that divided by the 92,545, and so throughout this 36-month term, you're basically paying roughly about 71% of the actual value of the Lucid. In other words, it doesn't necessarily hold that good of value. That's something you really need to kind of watch for. So with that comparison, let's pop over to Tesla. So once again, I just select leasing, Model 3, 43,990, same thing for the miles, term 36 months, and 4,500 for down payment. So at the very top, it has $469 for the monthly payment. So once again, let's open up the funnel calculator and do some math. So 469 times by 36 months, plus the 4,500 for the down payment. So that brings a grand total to the $21,384. And just so you guys see that right here, it does have at the very bottom the total. So that's very comparable to Lucid's, where it says here the net capital cost. So we take this right here. I'll just move this over so you guys can see that. So the 21,384, and then we are going to take that and divide it by 45,380. So that brings a grand total. I did that wrong, didn't I? That is going to be plus 45,380. That is going to be divided by 45,380. So it brings around 47%. In other words, Lucid is technically, you're paying about 71% of the overall value of the vehicle. In Tesla's case, it is paying roughly about 48%. So in other words, Teslas are holding its value better, which completely does not make any sense. In reality, though, I personally feel that Lucid does hold its value a little bit better. Just their leasing partnership with technically Bank of America, like I mentioned, or the Lucid Finance Services, is just screwing over its customers. So I know a lot of people really like to boast about Lucid's customer service, which in general is very good. That's one of the better attributes of Lucid. But I think in this case, them offering the $7,500 rebate or discount isn't going to help, because I think a lot of individuals that like to crunch numbers like myself realize that it's not advantageous. And if anything, it's just showing that Lucids are less of a desire, or at least it holds its value a lot less. I don't know why behind the scenes they're really calculating it like that, or if even a lot of people do factor that in, or if they just look on their website, say, oh, $1,600, $1,700, that's fine with me. I'm not really sure where they're getting this from. But once again, I could be wrong. I am not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence. I always like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So for instance, this is another ugly that Lucid has to deal with. I really like Lucid behind the scenes. They just need to really much improve this, and I don't know if this is because maybe Tesla has better leasing options potentially with different partners. I'm not sure at this stage in the game, but I think right now Lucid technically does need to really improve that fact, especially if they are going to be bringing in a lot more customers because of the $7,500 rebate. But in my opinion, I think over the next month, they're going to do a broad cut across all aspects of Lucid. And most likely they might announce that during their actual Q4 earnings. Again, just my own potential estimate on what might be coming for Lucid. Of course, nothing wrong with that. That isn't necessarily a Lucid problem. That is just a broad market problem, as I did bring up, and I think a lot of companies do need to adjust to the times, or else they are going to lose out. My own interpretation, but let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. I like to give a lot of Lucid content, give you the good, the bad, and the ugly through thick and thin, and I think in general 2023 is going to be a very good year for Lucid. They just have to improve on some finite things. But with all that, hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. If you do like my Lucid content and want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. And with that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.